Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Okay, guys, so I talked about pre-stretching strings before in the past. What about for gut? What about for a multi? We know that a poly really doesn't stretch. Is there a benefit? Stay tuned. All right, guys, so question from Michael Hingston. I enjoy your YouTube offerings, but don't think I ever heard you talk about pre-stretching tennis strings, and I'm wondering what you think about it. I've just replaced my 42-year-old Echelon crank machine with a Gamma XLT electric pull machine and noted that it had pre-stretch options for both 10% and 20% above the desired tension. On my old Echelon, I would sometimes double pull the natural gut or the soft multifilament, but always at the same tension for each pull. It seemed to help manage initial tension loss a little bit, although I am guessing that most players wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I am just wondering how pre-stretching with the machine options might affect tension loss and or playability of strings, especially natural gut or soft multifilaments. I also noted that my new machine has 3 pulling speed options. What are your thoughts on the differences, if any, between the options? Thanks. Okay, well, that's a great question. I basically learned on an Echelon myself, so I understand, the crank and how that thing functions. It's basically you set the tension on a little dial, you crank the thing, the pin pops out and locks it in, right? You pop the pin back and you move on to the next one. So it's not a constant pull machine like these electric machines. Constant pull means it's going to keep pulling until it hits that number that you set it for, the poundage, and it'll keep pulling until it hits that. On a crank, as soon as that pin pops out, it's just going to hold that tension. It won't keep trying to hit that number. So if you think about it, a constant pull is constantly pulling, right? Whereas when the pin pops out, right, you can move the head, do some other things, and it'll jack the tension up a little bit. So you're already getting a more accurate tension gauge from the constant pull already. I will bet as soon as you went to electric machine that you gained tension already. That string bed should have been more consistent. You should have felt it to be a little tighter. There is going to be a little pre-stretching already going on because of that constant pull head. Talking about the 3 settings here, you got the slow, the medium, and the fast. I mean, I've always set my tensions at fast just because, hitting the button, I don't have time to wait for that. So I've always set it for fast. I need it to yank so that basically I'm going so fast that the machine has to catch up with me on these electric machines. So I need it to go fast. So I've actually never used it on a slow or medium setting. I'm guessing that if you want a more constant tension, a little more pre-stretching, that the slower it is, the better it is for, to get out the break-in of the string. So, but if you have that kind of time, unfortunately I don't. So I try to go as fast as I can. I want that head to pull back as fast as I can too. As far as pre-stretching goes though, gut definitely can use some. Although the quality gut, like the Babolat's, the Wilsons, the Luxolons, the Pacifics, if they still make gut, they don't need too much of it. I mean, you can do the 10%, you can do the 20% just for the initial tension loss. because you will lose tension in that second to third hour. Maybe you'll extend that break-in period to maybe 4 hours, but that's probably all you're gonna get because gut is just gonna lose tension. On the soft multis, it's gonna be about the same thing. You're probably buying yourself like an hour or two more of a consistent tension. It's because after that, it's just gonna do its thing. It's just gonna lose tension as you hit with it, as it sits in the racket. So some of you who have been stringing for a long time, like me, forever, used to do this. Like I have both ends of the string here, and I have it wrapped around that post over there. See? Right? You guys can see the string. So it's around the post. I have the two ends over here. I was taught to pre-stretch like this. So I would go like this, wrap it around my hand like that, basically give it a little pressure, So I'm using my body weight to pre-stretch it. Like I would do this with gut when somebody asks for pre-stretching. So I can actually feel the tension giving and retracting. This was primitive pre-stretching back in my day. I still do this once in a while. When a pro asks me to pre-stretch, sometimes I'll just do this just to straighten out the gut. That's the one thing that this does really well, is it straightens out the gut so it doesn't kind of tangle so easily. So I do this for a little while to pre-stretch it out, just to work out the, initial break-in time of the string. Okay, so that's probably good enough because it had to support my, 200 pounds of weight for, what was that? Maybe a couple minutes. So that should have kind of broken it in. So definitely it's not as twisty as it was when it first got out of the package. All right, so let's go to the machine. All right, guys, so I'm at the stringing machine here. Look, that's me. They took a picture of me and put it in the machine, pre-stretch. So when I hit that button, it's asking me how much pre-stretch do I want. There we go. 10% right there. So let's say 10% pre-stretch. I hit that. So your question was also speed of the head. So this button right here is how fast the head pulls back. I want it at 100% because it's as fast as it goes. So on this machine, luckily, you can dial it down if you want. So for let's say badminton rackets, you probably don't want it at 100% because you're going to warp that little racket real fast. So, but since I only string tennis rackets and squash rackets here, like I said, I want it as fast as I can. Okay, so I have it on pre-stretch feature. I'm going to show you how it works on this machine. All right, so it's on the pre-stretch. See that little man look like me pulling for 10% right now. So watch how this thing pre-stretches. Pulls all the way once, goes back a little bit, and pre-stretches again. So I don't know how much that's actually pre-stretching, but you could definitely see 4 lights on, definitely constant pulling that tension. So maybe leave it on for a couple seconds longer, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, if you want to do it that way. Or you can just double pull it too. Like go back and double pull it. But essentially, that's how the machine does it. So maybe you want to do both, actually. Maybe you want to do the pulling thing and then have the machine do it too, just to get some of the slack off, just to get it kind of broken in and unwound and get that elasticity off so that it holds tension longer. But like I said, I don't pre-stretch my own. I mean, I use poly now, But even when I played with gut, I didn't really pre-stretch it. I know that there are, how many percentage of pros out there? I would say maybe less than 5% of the pros ask for a pre-stretch. Some of them ask for it on a poly, which I think is ridiculous, but whatever. Psychologically, if it works for you, great. But if it's a, gut, I get it. I understand. Serena asked for a pre-stretch. I'm Novak, Fed. They all get pre-stretched. I get it, right? They don't want any of the tension loss at a, quicker rate. So, but I mean, they're only playing with it for like an hour or so. So they're different than you and me. Okay. So pre-stretch on gut, yeah. Pre-stretch on soft synthetic, yeah. Pre-stretch on poly, probably don't do nothing. I already did a video on that one. All right. Thank you for the question. If you have any more questions, just let me know about pre-stretching. I think I've covered them all already, though. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.